Hello, welcome to the news on SBC at this hour. The leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, Sébastien Pillet, says that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Roger Mancienne, has once again declined his request for an urgent session of the National Assembly to be convened in order to discuss the COVID-19 situation in the country. Mr. Pillet says that he made the request in view of the number of deaths due to COVID-19 and the current situation at the mortuary. But the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. Roger Mancienne, has indicated that he did not accept the request made by the leader of the opposition as he felt the authorities had already given the necessary explanations. Mr. Mancienne says that the National Assembly will resume its normal sessions soon and its members would have an opportunity to raise their concerns. The Supreme Court has dismissed the suit brought by the late André Delhomme against the government over the sale of Koh-Tv Island in 1976. Today, Judge Carolis delivered the judgment in a private session that lasted over an hour. The Delhomme family is accusing government for failing to pay 1.5 million rupees on a 4 million rupees deal for Koh-Tv Island. The representative of the Delhomme family, Frank Elizabeth, is disappointed with the outcome of the case and said that his client is willing for the case to be heard before the Court of Appeal.
Today the judge has decided that the case should be dismissed, and she did dismiss the case on a point of law. That is that my client is outside the prescription period to bring the case. And she decided that the prescription period is 20 years and that my client has brought the case 40 years after they should have bought it. Basically, the transfer of Koh-Tv Island to the government was done through payment by installment. The government was under an obligation to pay 300,000 rupees per month from January 1980 until they complete the balance of the purchase price, which was 1.5 million rupees. And the judge said that prescription started to run from February 1980 when the government failed to make the payment. So she counted from February 1980 and since when the case was filed and decided that there's 40 years that has lapsed between the time that payment was not made and the time that the case was filed, and therefore the case is out of time, and she dismissed it on that point only. She did not go into the merit of the case, she did not go into the facts of the case, she dismissed it on a point of law only.
CPEC says there are two factors behind the increase of LPG gas, which is 2.50 per kilo. One is the worldwide price increase in the production of crude oil, which LPG gas is from. The second reason is the exchange rate during the time CPEC bought its latest stock. The Chief Executive Officer of CPEC, Mr. Conrad Benoiton, says even if those two factors improves, the company will not bring down the LPG gas because it needs to catch up on a loss of several millions of rupees on the product.
As of February to March, the world scale product cost had gone up almost 49% increase. And as such, the LPG consequently was impacted by the same amount of increased value. And on account that we have to pay the purchasing of the LPG upfront before it gets here, and our stock was going to be going down, we had to buy that in March of this year, at which the rupee was at its highest, 21.75 rupees to $1. And that impacted the cost of this cargo that we're starting to use right now, and reasons why we approached government to have a review on our sales costing from 15 rupees to 17 rupees 50, which minimizes the loss that we are incurring at this point in time. Forward looking, it appears that the LPG gas on the world market has dropped as of today, as of this month. It has dropped at around $130 per metric tons. So it would give an indication that would probably be on a downward trend on the cost of LPG importation. But however, one has to realize that we have lost so far 15 million rupees, and we would need to recover that before we are able to gauge a reduction of the 17 rupees 50 that is currently on the market domestically.
And Mr. Conrad Benoiton also says since CEPEC has started phasing out most of its metal LPG cylinders, replacing them with the lighter composite cylinders, almost 60% of the bottles in circulation in the country are the composite ones. They are costing CEPEC about 400 to 600 rupees per cylinders, whilst the metal cylinders are expected to fully phase out in the next 3 to 4 years. Meanwhile, Mr. Benoiton says it is impossible to have a pipe system to deliver gas directly to people's homes.
It is impossible, not in the Seychelles context, on account that its consumption level is so minimal. The infrastructure costs in terms of maximizing the laying of the pipes and all these housing estates and the individual homes all over the island would simply not make it a viable option. It's like water system in the country. So with 110,000 bottles in circulation, of which the 24 kilos will remain to be metal, so we have around, say, 95 to 100,000 bottles in circulation. So that's an investment of around 44 to 60 odd million rupees over a period of say, 8 years, which will obviously pay on its own.
The central bank has expressed its concern regarding the increase in demand of foreign exchange recently. During a press conference this morning, Governor Caroline Abel said that since the end of April until Friday last week, demand for foreign exchange was at $23.4 million. This is a huge increase compared to the same period last year, and it's even higher than the $21.4 million demand in May 2019 when the economy was performing well. The governor said that the country's economy is still fragile and people need to take this into account. She warned that even if there has been a slight improvement since March when the country started welcoming visitors, we are not out of the woods yet. Strengthen cooperation in various fields such as tourism, blue economy and fisheries are some of the issues discussed between the new ambassador of Oman for Seychelles, Ali bin Abdullah bin Salim Al Mamki, and President Wavel Ramkalawan. The discussion followed the presentation of the new ambassador's credentials to the president at State House this morning, where they also spoke of interest to increase connectivity between the two countries through their national airlines. After he had presented his credential documents, the ambassador also paid a courtesy call on Vice President Ahmed Afif. Yesterday, Ambassador Ali Mamki also visited the office of the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Tourism, Sylvestre Radicon, where he met with the Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Viviane Foctave, and other senior officials of Foreign Affairs.
Most of this, it is a blue economic, how we can develop fisheries, the relation between Oman and Seychelles, how to develop it more and more. We like to see the cooperation between Seychelles and Oman in the ports, okay, in the transportation, air transportation also. We wanted to see Oman Air come here. Okay, we wanted to see tourism sector, because also we are trying to develop our tourism sector. We know that we have agreement between tourism, College of Tourism in Oman, and they have the Institute of Tourism. So we hope that they can exchange their ideas to see how what's it. And we like also to invest. We like to invest, see what is the opportunity to invest in Seychelles.
And that's it for this news summary. I hope you will join me at 8 for the news bulletin. I'll see you then.